Tonight, the fleecing of America. Congress has done nothing about banning or limiting stock trading for members of Congress, despite widespread support for it. Insider reporting 63 members of Congress have violated the Stock Act that is supposed to stop insider trading and conflicts of interest. With us tonight, Dave Leventhal, Deputy Washington Bureau Chief for Insider. His extensive reporting on the huge investments and massive conflicts of interest from our own members of Congress is part of what sparked these calls. Let's start right there. You've got all these members of Congress violating the Stock Act. But here's the thing. It's a slap on the wrist. So even if they get in trouble, it's nothing big. Why are they even being investigated? Who cares?
Well, it's sort of like if you parked your car in front of your house and there was a no parking sign, but the cost of doing business was $1 parking ticket. That's effectively what it's like for Congress in a way, because if you do violate this act and it's not absolutely egregious, the fine you're going to pay out of the gate is going to be about $200. Okay. And Stephanie, we're talking about trades here that sometimes are going to be months, even years late. They amount into the hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. And there's very little incentive for Congress to effectively abide by a law that it passed for itself to defend against conflicts of interest and, at worst, insider trading.
I love that analogy. If the fine to park in front of my house was $1, I'd park in front of there every day, tomorrow, yesterday, and for the rest of my life. What happened to this bipartisan movement in Congress to ban stock trading? Remember, months ago, we heard from Republicans, this is terrible. We're going to change this when we're in power. We saw Democrats putting together proposals. Nancy Pelosi was under a huge amount of pressure. What happened? It's all gone.
There's a ton of heat and a ton of energy. Really, at the beginning of this year, we had reported back in December a whole variety of conflicts of interest and, of course, the violations that you had just cited. And that created a lot of movement, really, towards something that was not only going to be driven by Democrats, but also ended up being legitimately bipartisan. There are several bills that are pending in Congress. And right now what's happening is there are negotiations taking place, really on the Senate side more than the House side. And you have certain members of Congress, including Jeff Merkley, a senator from Oregon, Democrat, Abigail Spanberger, who you just showed on the screen. They're really trying to get a consensus bill that will come to the floor. But hey, we've got COVID, we've got guns, we've got the economy writ large, many other issues that have just simply dominated the discourse in Congress. And like a lot of things, you might have Congress focus on something for a hot minute, and then it goes away. That doesn't mean that this is dead, Stephanie. What it does mean, though, is that it's going to be difficult going forward for Democrats and Republicans ultimately to get together to support a single bill and get it done during this legislative session, during an election year, of course.
What motivated and infuriated many, many American voters to get out and vote in the last presidential election for Joe Biden is that they were voting against Donald Trump. They were furious over the self-dealing, the self-enriching, all of the things he was doing that was technically legal, or his administration, but it was wildly inappropriate and there was loads of conflicts of interest. So where is Joe Biden right now on congressional stock trading? He has been in office for 2 years. This is a glaring example of something he can weigh in on and fix, and he hasn't. Why not?
Well, Joe Biden is missing in action, and that's not my opinion. That's the opinion of many progressives who sent him a letter last week and demanded that he, in a very public fashion, despite everything else going on, and he is a very busy president at this point for sure, but they demanded that he go out and publicly support a ban on members of Congress buying and selling, trading individual stocks. Joe Biden received that letter. The White House confirmed it. Joe Biden has not talked publicly about this issue. So if he is anywhere right now, it is not out front. And there's no indication, Stephanie, that he's really leading on this issue. When we had asked him about this previously, effectively, then Jen Psaki, his press secretary, said this is up to Congress. And Joe Biden really hasn't moved forward from that position since.
And hasn't talked about it at all.
He hasn't talked about it at all publicly. Now, this was something when the Stock Act, which was a bill that was passed about a decade ago, that was on point and really set in the current rules and regulations, the rules of the road, if you will, for the way that members of Congress interact with their own personal finances. Joe Biden was at that ceremony. So this is something that he definitely has talked about in the past. This is something that he has dealt with in previous political lifetimes, including when he was vice president. but this is not an issue that's on the top of his agenda at this moment in time.
But with this and many other issues, people are going to look back and say, where's the action? If Donald Trump were to run for president today, he still wouldn't have to submit his taxes. And we haven't seen his last ones. Dave Leventhal, thank you for making us smarter on this. This is really important reporting.